Most of the people in this room are aware of the Random Acts program that's run out of Oakland. Great effort made by a lot of firefighters, few ringleaders that have asked me not to name names, but if you come up to me afterwards, I will name the names. But we're extremely proud of the organization. We're extremely proud of how it has been a force multiplier and has expanded on to other departments in the nation. And I continue to take great pride in Oakland Fire Random Acts and everything it's done for our own community, the state, and even nationwide and other parts of the world.
Firefighters Random Acts, as I said, has partnered with the Fire Family Foundation to connect 33 departments to 33 firefighters who have lost everything. At this time, I'd like to introduce an amazing woman who's going to come up and tell you some more information. Please welcome Robin McCarthy, the Executive Director of the Fire Family Foundation.
Good morning. It's a great day to be in Oakland, let me tell you. So, Fire Family Foundation is pleased, very pleased, to partner with Oakland Firefighters Random Acts, and we hope it's a long, prosperous, and beneficial partnership. We know that the work of our firefighters makes a true commitment to the community. I can't begin to imagine the devastation of going to work one morning and suddenly coming home and everything you've worked for is gone. And that's what these firefighters faced. This tragedy that beset Northern California will live on, not only with these firefighters in their lives, but also something that is a terrible tragedy for the community. Fire Family Foundation is pleased to present to Oakland Firefighters Random Act and Oakland firefighters, along with all of the other communities that have been so devastated by these fires, $30,000 that will make an impact. We are promising $1,000 for every firefighter who has lost their home. But that's not all. We will continue to raise funds for the Helping Firefighters Heal Fund, which is the name of the fund, and we are dedicating 100% of those proceeds to the firefighters who lost their homes. There will be no administrative costs, no overhead taken out by our organization. In addition to that, we know that there are community members who have suffered as well. So the Middletown Relief Fund is also being organized, and that fund is currently growing to help those community members that also lost their homes. These firefighters you see today will be helping distribute those funds to those community members and those individuals in the community who also lost their homes. It's important to remember that when a firefighter goes to work every morning, they're going out to serve their community. But who knows when they will return and what they will find in a situation like this. Fire Family Foundation is the charitable hand of Firefighters First Credit Union. I'd also like to introduce one of my colleagues, Derek Fig, who is the branch manager for one of our branches up here in Pleasanton. Derek, if you could come up, please. And as we are always proud to say, we're pleased that the funds that we bring will go right back into the community. This check is the beginning. Thank you. This check is the beginning of the healing, and we hope that Helping Firefighters Heal has a true impact. Again, Fire Family Foundation is pleased with our partnership, very pleased with our partnership with Oakland Firefighters Random Act, and we salute the firefighters for what they do. Thank you.
Today with us are 4 firefighters that lost their homes. Everything they have is gone. And they're being surrounded now by a part of their fire family. So I would like to ask them to come up and introduce themselves. And we barely talked on the phone. Some I've met for the first time. So this morning I'd like them to tell you a little bit about what's going on and where they're at right now and how they feel about having these departments to come and help them. They will be available after the press conference for interviews. But right now, I'd like to have them come up one at a time. I think our gentleman from Cal Fire, Mr. Duncan, could you join us, please, and share?
Sure. Paul Duncan. I'm a battalion chief with CAL FIRE. We live in the Hidden Valley area. The morning of the fire was pretty typical in that we were just doing normal things around the house. My wife had had back surgery the day before and was recovering on the couch. I was on sick leave to take care of her when the fire broke out. I wasn't aware that the fire was going. It was in a community that we used to live, and a friend texted me and asked me what was going on with the fire, and I said, I don't know what fire. Looked out the window and saw that there was a significant column coming out of the Cobb area. Talking with our incident commander, and he says, mandatory evacuation for Hidden Valley. And I grabbed up my phone and texted my wife and said, mandatory evacuation for Hidden Valley. She said, okay. So she started as limited as she could, loading up stuff, and had about 6 minutes from that text to the back of the house was on fire. So she was able to grab a bag, some of her clothes, a few pictures, and put her in one car, 2 kids in another, and another kid in one. So the 2 girls are headed outside of town. They finally made it out of the subdivision. My wife had to stop for the principal. He called her and asked if they could pick the dog up from the house. So my wife, they made forcible entry to the house, recovered his dog, and transported the dog out. But the kids were already headed north, the 2 girls, and I get a text from them saying, there's fire all around me, what do we do? We don't know where to go. They were driving our pickup, and I said, you need to just point it down the road. If there's nobody in front of you, step on the gas. You need to get through the fire and drive all the way till you get to the other side. So they did. That was a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old did that. And then my wife was still getting the dog together, finally got on the road. The roadway was blocked where the kids had gone, so she couldn't go north. So she headed south, got about 1.5 miles down the road, and there was trees on fire on the road, cars that were burning, power lines that were down. And I was in the middle of a firefight up on the mountain, so there was no way I couldn't get away. So she called me frantically, what do I do? And I gave her directions similar to what I gave the kids, and that was, if there's nobody in front of you, you need to step on the gas. You need to pick a line on the roadway. You know where the road is. You've driven it hundreds of times. You need to drive through. You do not want to be there on the side of the road with your car on fire. So she did that. She stepped on the gas, drove through 3 separate fire fronts to get into Middletown. As she's approaching Middletown, one last fire front, she breaks through, finally comes into town, and that was on the CBS nightly news. That was her car coming through the flames, which we didn't know till later. At 9 o'clock, I got a call from my supervisor, said, oh, sorry to tell you, but your house is destroyed, and we're going to get relief for you up there. So finally left the fire line about 11 in the morning, drove down, saw the house. Just amazing to see the devastation. Just nothing left, about 4 inches tall, and took a couple pictures and then headed up and met back up with the family. So it's been definitely a roller coaster for sure, emotionally. The kids have had some moments of anger and being upset, but they're doing really well. Wife's recovering from her back surgery, and we're working on getting back in the community, and that's a big thing for us. The community in Middletown is like no other. It just is a whole lot of family pulling together. The fact that right now we have fire departments that want to sponsor us and be part of the brotherhood, I'm very, very happy about that. It's like a big hug, and if you've been around a bunch of firemen, they are huggers, and I really appreciate it, and it's just amazing. The outpouring is incredible. So that's kind of my story. Sorry to drag it on, but that's what I have. And thank you, Larry, for inviting us.
Thank you all. Good morning. Luckily, Bob was able to kind of condense some of that, so I don't have to do a whole lot of talking. I was able to call my parents, and they were unsure. When they were evacuated, they said that the fire was closing into the house. They were hopeful that the house was still there, but they had no confirmation. So it was after the demo. It was probably about a 2.5-hour drive back to Lake County. We made it in. We were given our assignments, and so we worked, and we prepped as many houses as we could, and we saved what we could, animals, livestock, things like that. It wasn't until probably 2 in the morning that I got confirmation for myself and for my family that my house was, my childhood home was destroyed. So all I could do in the moment was, snap a quick picture and call my parents and tell them like, hey, this is the confirmation that, the house is gone. So they were in disbelief. They were like, are you sure? And it's like, yeah, I'm standing in the front yard. So, as well as, my sister just moved in down the street. My aunt and uncle lived down the street. It was I had to be that point of contact for all of them because they had no idea. So, it was a little overwhelming. There's nothing we could do now. I was still in work mode. I just needed to go out and do everything I could for everybody else because I know that's what I'd want done for me. So we worked through the night, and then I left work. The next morning I got relief, and I just met up with my family as soon as I could. They were at the Calistoga Evacuation Center. That was the main evacuation center for the duration, the majority of the incident. So I just met up with them, and from there we started taking those steps, contacting family, letting them know we were safe.
Hello everybody, my name is Andrew Walter. I work with South Lake County Fire. At the time of the beginning of the Valley Fire, I was in Calaveras County, and we were fighting the Butte Fire. We got the CAD text telling us that there was a new fire in Cobb, and we all kind of shrugged it off like they're going to catch it. They always catch it. Those guys are good. The next thing we know, we hear that the guys that we work with are burned over. And the firefighter that I'm working with gets a call from his parents telling him that his house was gone. We get emergency demobbed. It's about a 3-hour drive. It was the longest drive of my life and the eeriest feeling in the world. You're reading these things online telling you that your high school's burned down and that your home's gone, and it's unreal. You just go numb. We get into county, into district, and we're at the incident, and we find out our orders are to go to my home and try to save it. We get there, the west side of the complex I live in is completely involved, and the flames are raging, and I've never seen anything like it before. And I was scared. We did everything we could, and it wasn't enough. I ended up watching everything I ever worked for burn down in front of me. I pulled myself together and we moved down the street and we tried to save some more homes. We'd knock down the flames and we'd move forward and we'd look back and the flames were back.
My name's Luke Jornstead. I've been a volunteer for 10 years at Calaveras Fire. I've been asked to share my story today. Give it a light. Well, it started the day that the fire started. I just got home from the rough fire. I've been out for 14 days. I got home for 2 hours. I got a call from my other department that I work at full time to go on a strike team to the Butte fire. So packed my bags, went right back out. Got assigned to Highway 26, and we were doing structure protection all day. And then a division chief came in and said, "I need resources to send over to Mountain Ranch," and that's where I live. And I didn't know the fire had made it that far at that point, so he took 2 of our engines and we went over there. And he said, "We're going the Trails End Road. You know where that's at?" I'm like, "I live there." So we got down in there right when the flame front was coming through, and got into a couple of my neighbors' houses and did structure protection for a couple hours. And then the fire went around us, and during that point I could see my house up on the ridge just burning up, and nothing you could do work. But after that, my strike team leader wanted to know, like, "Are you good?" And I said, "Hey, there's a job we got to do," and kind of put it off till I got off the fire. I stayed for 14 days, got off, and then went back up there and started going through the rubble, and The only thing I found, I brought it today at the house, was my badge from my fire department. So it's the only thing I found. But I'd just like to say thank you to the Oakland Firefighter Association for all the support, and all the firefighters everywhere for the brotherhood, because when I got off the fire, firefighters don't like taking help from anybody. We're very self-efficient, and it's just been overwhelming, the support from all over the nation, honestly, from the fire service. So I'd like to say thank you.
33 firefighters and their families lost their homes and everything they treasured. We have a unique opportunity to help our heroes.
Fire Family Foundation is pledging 100% of the funds that we raise will go to help these individuals.
This fundraising effort by firefighters and the Fire Family Foundation is the lifeline to these firefighters and their communities.
You can lend a hand. All gifts are tax deductible. Go to firefamilyfoundation.org and help these firefighters heal.